Hi everyone, this is Alex from Lincoln Park Library, and today's How To Tuesday is how to make a mini book magnet, which is one of our crafts for this week that we have as a take-home. So to get started, these are examples of ones that I have made of two different kid and young adult books. The one is Shadow and Bone, the other is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So if we move to step one. So step one, you'll have this little packet that you can get from the library. It has everything that you need. So for step one, there's a pile of little white papers that are in there. So it's just like computer paper that was cut. You're going to stack all those white pieces of paper together, and you want them to be as even as possible. So if you can see the one on the right, you can see it kind of has a very even strip at the base. You're going to want that for when we put part of the cover on. So stack them up as evenly as you possibly can. You're going to put the binder clip on them, and then you're also going to want to trim it until it's even. So you can make it any size that you want as long as the cardstock pieces can cover these white pages that are going to be the inside of the book. So you're going to do that first. Make sure you apply the binder clip. Make sure everything's steady so that you're ready for step two. And step two, so you can use any kind of glue. I find that wet glue is the best. So if that's like Elmer's glue, you can even use Mod Podge, which is what I used. I use the glossy kind because I just think it gives it a nice sheen once it's all done. So any kind of glue, even if you have a glue stick or anything, anything will work. But wet glue is the best. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue the sides of the page. So you're going to do the top, you're going to do the bottom, and you're going to do like this spine. So the spine is going to be the part that's over here, that's closest to where the binder clip is. And then you can see, even if you have a couple like little jagged pieces on the other side, which is going to be, where you would open a book, that's fine. Whatever aesthetic that you want for your little book is totally fine. If you want it to be more jagged, if you want it to be perfectly even, you can trim it accordingly. That's totally up to you. This step, it's crucial that you allow time for all of the glue to dry. So this is kind of like a step-by-step. You might have to put it aside for, an hour or two. It needs to be totally dry because if it's not, it's all just going to fall apart as you move to the next steps. So, keep that binder clip on. Once you think that it's dry enough, that's when you can remove it for the next step. For step three, this is when you're going to be adding that cardstock. So what you want to do, what I do first, I take that binder clip and I put it on the other side. You could see right here, it used to be here, and then I flipped it to the other side, just so, it gave me a little bit of a more steady hand when applying the glue and putting that cardstock strip. So, if you need to adjust that strip, the width, the length, anything like that, you can always trim everything. I gave a little bit more area to work with, knowing that you'd have to trim down, the white pieces of paper and the cardstock, but I just didn't know, how big someone was going to want it. So you can make it super small, a bigger one, whatever you want to do, that's up to you. So what you want to do, you're going to add glue. What I did first is I did the binding, so I added glue here, and I did a generous amount just because it's kind of a strange angle for that one. It doesn't sit, as you can see here, it doesn't sit quite perfectly. You might have to adjust a little bit. So I did that part first, so I attached that binding, and then after I applied that, I did the two sides. So I applied the glue onto the white page, and then I pressed the cardstock on there. And then any excess cardstock that I had, maybe up top, maybe on the side, I trimmed that off as well so I can get it as perfect as I possibly could to make it look like a book. And then that's when you're going to put that binder clip back on, as you can see here. And what I did, I was careful not to get any glue on this outside binding part right here so that I could push it as close as I possibly could to the inside of the binder clip, just so we could keep it all together. If you could see it right here, I press it up against just because it doesn't sit quite flush, on those white pieces of paper. So I have found that if you push it all the way back, that really helps to keep it all together while it dries. So again, you want to make sure that everything dries before you move on to the next step. Step 4, that's when you're going to remove the binder clip, make sure it's all dry, just in case. and then that's when you're going to put the actual cover on of the book. So what I would do, I would put a thin layer of glue onto the cardstock. I would put, the little piece of paper with the title on there, put that on, and then what I did, I added a glue on top of a layer of glue on top of everything. So even, over this part, I put glue on top of that just to make sure that everything stayed together. I even put it over the top of the spine label and the cardstock. I kind of just did a little layer over the whole entire thing just for an extra layer of protection. And then I set it aside again to dry completely, which is the most important of all these steps. You need it to really be dry after each step before you move on to the next one. And then for step 5, this one's pretty easy. So what you're going to do, there's also a magnet in that little kit. You can peel off the piece of paper that's attached to it. It's a self-adhesive magnet, and you can just pop it right on the back cover of your mini book. What I also do, just because, it can never have too much glue to keep this thing together, I added a little layer of glue as well to the self-adhesive strip that's on the magnet, just in case, because, just got to put another layer. And then I attached it to the back of the book. So you can do that. You don't have to. It is, a sticky magnet, but you can do that. I don't think it hurts. So that's what I did for that. And then it should look like this, depending on the size of your magnet. And then this is what the finished product should be. So this is what mine looked like after it was totally dry. You can see it, glistens a little bit just because I used the glossy Mod Podge. So it held together really nicely. You definitely can't open mine. Some people figure out a way to glue it in such a way that they actually can open them. That's up to you. I did not do that just because I really wanted it to stay together as best as possible. So if I put it anywhere, that it wouldn't, eventually fall apart. So once it's done and once it's totally dry, you can attach it to any magnetic surface. And you have your own cute little book. We have a variety of adult and children's books. The kids might need some help from the adults to do this. I have had, some elementary age students do it by themselves though, and they seem to have a great time with it. So we do have a variety of these, and they will be available on Monday the 19th. If you want to come in and grab a kit, there's ones for, like I said, adults and kids. But you can also do this at home as well. If you have, paper, you could even use construction paper for the outside if you don't have cardstock, and, a printer to print a little title of a book. So it's really not difficult. You can get creative with it if, you ever want to do it at home. And yeah, it's a fun little project that you can do for any book, which is great at home too. You can print your own title for whatever you want. And as always, if anybody ever has any questions, feel free to come to the community room in the municipal building where the satellite library is right now, and feel free to ask me any questions. We're open at 1 p.m. during the week. Thanks so much.